guys, welcome to my first book review video. I really hope that you like this style of video because I'm a big reader and there's loads of books that I would really like to share with you. At the moment I've been on kind of a self-sufficiency reading kick, and that's kind of what today's book is about. It's called This Dirty Life by Kristen Kimball, and it's about her setting up it's community supported agriculture, so like a community supported farm, but it's a totally organic farm, and also they do everything by horsepower, so they don't have tractors and things there. They actually have a team of horses, and the book follows the first year in her setting up this farm with her husband. He becomes her husband through the book, because it actually starts at the very beginning with how she meets this guy, and she's a journalist and she goes out to the organic farm that he's running to do an interview, and they fall in love, and then it's like the process of how they get to the starting the farm as well, but it's like their love story as well, which for me that's really nice, because I think a lot of these kind of books can be quite technical and you don't always get that like personal side to them. So it's got this like, it's not all like gushy love story. You've got this story running through it of their relationship and the highs and the lows of that, really, and how they come together and they start this farm. And she's very much like a city girl and he's a farmer, so it's interesting how like their two worlds meet, and it's, you know, a real life story, which makes it even better. I think it makes it quite special. So one of the things that drew me in almost straight away in the first few pages of the book were these really lavish, amazing descriptions of the food that they're cooking. So with all this fresh produce, there's almost like recipes, like a little snippet of what's going into it, not so much like weights and measures, but the descriptions of the meals that they cook for each other and how that's a big part of their relationship. And that really spoke to my foodie heart, because it's just like food porn basically. The descriptions are so like mouth-watering, and you're thinking, oh, I really want to eat that, and that drew me in right from the very beginning. She talks about what she's cooking, so it's got like the love story and the food, and then the main part is obviously about them setting up the farm, which is really interesting, and it's not kind of glamorized in any way at all. You really get the grit of what they had to go through, and it wasn't an easy journey by any means, but it was a very personal tale and really interesting. So this was a book that for me it just ticked all the boxes. I think sometimes with these books they're almost like a bit sterile. It's almost like a load of essays and quite preachy, like you should eat organic if you don't blah blah blah. This one just, she's a writer anyway, which she started off as a writer, so I think that like helps to really tell the story in the book. And it talks about the animals on the farm and what they cook, and they've got like a sugar forest, and they're making like syrups and things there, and the cows for like the dairy farm, and it's just got a bit of everything. But the thing that spoke to me the most was the food running through it, but I do find these self-sufficiency stories like really interesting, and this one just brought it all together. It had the personal aspect as well as the not so much business side, but the more technical side of actually running a farm was there as well. So it's got a really nice balance, and I would definitely recommend it. I've read quite a few of these self-sufficiency books now, and this one has been my favourite so far, so definitely I would recommend you checking it out. If you've already read it, I would love to know what you thought of it. It's not a new book, it's been out for a couple of years, I think, so that you may have come across it if you like this kind of literature already. So this is the app just here on my phone. I'm not sure how clearly you can see it. A kind of new discovery for me this month has been Audible, which is an app for audiobooks. Now, I don't know, I've never really gotten into audiobooks because I prefer to read at like a time when I'm relaxing. But I downloaded this app. I got a free trial of it, a 30-day free trial. So I downloaded the app to my phone, and I found when I'm walking down to the allotment, or even when I'm digging at the allotment, I can listen to an audiobook, and it's just a time when I wouldn't be able to read, you know, when my hands are occupied. And I've been listening to on there The Accidental Farmers by Tim Young, which is again another story of somebody like starting a farm, but this time it's a meat farm, and they're like trying to get back to the land and farm as naturally as possible, and that means like no intervention or antibiotics or anything for their animals. I would say this book is a bit more it talks about farming life, you know, so there's the life and death situation of the animals that are on their farm, and it's very realistic, I'm sure, but it is a little bit you know, there's talking about the animals dying and stuff as animals do on the farm, and obviously because they've chosen to go the route of like no intervention, it's about their struggles with how closely they can farm, like replicating what would happen in nature without, you know, everything not surviving and perishing. And it's really interesting. It brings up a lot of issues about factory farming of meat and things, and it made me really look at what I am actually eating and where the meat is coming from. It's very well written again. It takes a different approach. Not that it's not as personal, but it's not so much about the farmer's like personal relationship. It's more about their relationship with the land and how they acquire the farm. Everybody acquires a farm. How do you just acquire a farm? And then they set about what they want to do with that land, and they've reading a lot themselves about mass production of meats and the sustainability, and they decide that they want to become meat farmers, and they get the cows and the chickens, and it's about their story of breeding out traits in animals that, like, the animals don't do very well to start with on their farm because they don't really know how to look after themselves. A lot of the breeds are very used to having human intervention, and they want it to just be wild and natural, and it's about how they breed for the traits to help the animals to survive alone with as little input from them as possible, so all the animals have like natural happy lives on their farm, and then they sell that organic meat at the end of it. They kind of diversify into lots of other areas as well. It's similar to This Dirty Life book in many ways, and I think that's what drew me to it. Now with the Audible app, it's I got a free trial for it, so I would definitely recommend everybody just get the free trial and see if you like it or not. After that, I think it's $7.99 a month, and you only get like one book a month. You have to pay more if you want another book. I've nearly finished that book now, and it's probably taken me about 2 weeks to listen to it, just occasionally listening like an hour here and there. I don't know if it's one that I would continue the subscription, but Audible have like an affiliate program, so if you like recommend somebody, you get some money back. So I'm sure there must be a way, if we were all to like trial it and leave our like referral links below, that we could all try it for free. I'm not sure. I haven't like figured it out quite yet. The one thing that bothered me with it is it's quite expensive now. If I wanted to listen to another book, the other books seemed like they're like £15–20, so that's a little bit more than I would be willing to pay, because I could probably get one on my Kindle for cheaper than that. I'd be interested to know if you listen to audiobooks. I do think there's like a time and a place for them. I can't imagine them ever taking the place of like a reading book, but as I say, when I'm at the allotment or if you're traveling, it's quite nice to have something like that to listen to. Kind of keeps you company. If you do go for the Audible trial, just write on the calendar when it ends, because obviously that's how they try and lock you in, is like you sign up for something, it's free for 30 days, but then you forget to cancel it and then you end up paying for it. I think it's a really good way of like trying something new. I'm not sure if I'll stick with it. I really do like the idea. I just don't know if I want to be paying for something every month that I just don't know if it's necessary. That I read a lot anyway, and I do enjoy just being down at the allotment, but I'm gonna give it a go and see. I'm not sure yet, but as I said, I'd like to know your experiences, and also if you've got any more recommendations, particularly in this like self-sufficiency genre, because that's what I'm kind of enjoying at the moment. The next book that I'm going to read is The Good Life. I couldn't get this one on Kindle, so I have had to order it. But if you want to read along, and then I'll be back in a month with a review of that one, and we'll see how it goes. I know there's the Animal, Vegetable, Mineral is one that keeps coming up, and I've started to read it, but I found it jumped around a little bit. But anyway, that's probably like one for a review on that book itself. But for now, I'm gonna do The Good Life for next month if you want to read along. And if you've read any of the books that I've mentioned, or even listened to them, and you've got any comments, leave those below. If you haven't read them, be careful, because there may be some spoilers in the comments. I'll see you next week, guys. Bye. Like, the main component in it is sugar, and you scrub it on your lips, so the sugar kind of gets rid of like any dead skin.